Hello everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome to a new playthrough on the channel. After our attempt to terraform Mars via Terraforming Mars, the dice game succeeded last week, we're moving back to World War II Europe and continuing New Game November as we play Night Fighter Ace from Compass Games, our first game from Compass on the channel. In this game, as the name suggests, we're going to be a Night Fighter pilot over Germany, trying to shoot down the planes the Western Allies are sending at Germany. This game, in my practice playthroughs, feels like somewhat like a Luftwaffe version of the Hunters, in that we're trying to build a narrative around our pilot. We'll probably see more of the Hunters vibe as we get into the game, but let's go ahead and set up our on-channel pilot. Now, I've already got the log prepared for this one, but our pilot is going to be, I believe the lowest rank is Lieutenant Schultz, will be our pilot. And in here is part of setup. Let me see if I can find it. Here we are. We've got our base assignment, so I'll zoom out a touch here. And we will roll for his unit at random. This is as far as I can go from the looks of it, so I'll put the dice tower over top of that, and I'll put we'll roll a d20 for his starting unit. We've got the table here for the base assignment, as we can see. So a 14 will have us being assigned to the 2 NJG-1. Base will be in St. Trond. We've got 3 different aircraft available. Our base zone will be Dutch, so somewhere in the Netherlands from the looks of it. I'll move that over here so I can make some notes on the log. Unit is NJG-1. St. Trond. And our planes that we have to choose from at our base are BF-110F4, JU-88R1, right? Yes, JU-88R1, DO-215B5. I was going to say, if they're in yellow, that would make my life, ow, so much easier. I didn't mean to jar my face with the poster board here. So these are the 3 planes that we have to choose from. I think we're going to take the BF-110F4. I'll make a note of that on the log. We'll put a note there. We can see the base. We can see our bases here, the damage markers, our weapons, electronics suite, and the crew status. So let me just F-110F4. Okay, we'll move that over to the main game area. So now with that, I can move over to the board, move over to the main game area, and we'll finish setup over there. Here's our mat for our fighter that we're taking. We're taking on the BF-110F4. Once again, we've got the ranges for each of our zones for interception purposes. And then the numbers over here represent the total amount of firepower that we have, which will come into play in combat. We've also got 3 ammo on our forward cannons, so we'll put that there. I feel like there was supposed to be like an approach mat or something. That might be a different game in this series, but it looks like I've got everything here that I need. So we're actually starting as a non-commissioned officer of an Unterofficer. We'll set up our current unit, our current plane, and our base zone. So we've got all that straight, and I've got to figure out how to roll for intruders. Okay. Okay, so now that I've got that straight, I don't have to worry about that right now. I think everything's pretty much all set here, so let's say we get into our first couple of sorties in Night Fighter Ace. First thing we need for our first raid is a target, so that will bring us to our raid chart. We're starting in August 1943. So we'll roll 2d6 and check against the raid chart to see what's being targeted. And as you can see, once again, I've got two different colored d6 in here. When I need to combine dice, well, I'll be adding them now, but when I need to combine, black will be our 10s, white will be our 1s. So in that case, this would be a roll of 33. Right now we're looking at a 6, so looking at our raid chart, the Allies are going after Nuremberg, Frankfurt on this raid. So I'll turn to my log, which I'm keeping off of camera. All right. And for our first sortie, we'll be making it under a dark moon, so all of our interception rolls will be at -1. Right. I'm surprised there's no indication for that, but we do need to roll for weather next. Actually, locate the... Yep, so we locate the endurance track that matches the base zone. So we move our plane down to Dutch. Then we'll confirm that everything's set. We have our 3 ammunition on the forward cannon. Then we check for weather and a D10. And we've got markers for that on our operations map. A 10, uh-oh, that could be problematic. Meaning it's socked in. Well, it means my sortie will be canceled. Which I'm very much not an ace, so this sortie is going to be canceled because of weather. Oh, that was a short sortie. Just making a note in my log. Which means, since the sortie got canceled, we're going to go straight to our next sortie, which will be just a normal one. So, let's reset everything and try again. That was kind of an anticlimactic start, but fortunately, it means our interceptions will be a little bit easier because we won't be making them at an obscene roll. So, let's go ahead and see what our next sortie results in. All right, a 10 this time means the Allies are going for Berlin this time. So Berlin. Let's see if the weather is going to cooperate with us this time to actually get in the air. A 2 means we've got good weather. Okay. That I can work with a lot better. At least that's for the start of the raid. So, what do we need to find now? We check the weather. It's not a full moon, so now we roll for random electronics failure, which means we got one system that's going to be out right away. So we'll roll 2d6 for that. An 8 actually, on our random electronics failure chart, means nothing's out, so we'll be fine for this. So we're at full strength for the raid. Let me move the dice tower. I'll put it over there, I guess, so we can see our endurance track. And now we'll conduct the sorties. So we'll move from to the raid location endurance box. Okay, so from takeoff, we move directly to Berlin. All right, so now we'll be rolling on the interception chart. And we'll be rolling a D10 for that one. We've got no modifiers this time because we aren't going to be under any moon. Yep. Okay. Alright, so we do need to check for... We do need to check for spoof raids, though. We'll be rolling 2d6 for that. And we'll be rolling on the spoof raid chart. We want to see a 2 to 9 on this one. That's a 9, so the spoof raid doesn't have any effect for us, thankfully. Alright, so now we need the d10 in there. So now that we've ducked the spoof... Now that we've ducked the spoof raid... move your... Okay, so we stay put. Which means now we'll roll to intercept. So our first interception roll... is a 6... which on the interception chart... yields no interception. So we move to the next box, which in this case is France over Bremen. And 8 is also no interception. Over Munich. A 2 also means no interception. And our last possible landing, our last possible interception box. Ooh. We only got the lid falling. A 9, I believe, is actually an interception. Yes, it is. So we actually will get some combat. Actually, we should have had... Actually, our radar is operational, so one of those 8s should have been in... Well, I'm not going to rule that I had an 8 of any kind, so we're not going to have any kind of interception. Well, we will have one now. So now we're rolling 2d12, or 2d6 to see what we're taking on. Hopefully we get something low. I'm going to finish making some notes over here. Okay, just finishing up making my notes. Now let's see what we're taking on. Let's see, a 6 means we're facing a Lancaster. All right. With that, we need to bring another mat in shot. Alright, so we're taking on the Lancaster, which is this plane right here. We have a speed of 17 to their speed of 14, which means we will automatically have the... I was going to say we'll automatically have the initiative, but that's not necessarily true, because we'll be firing with our forward guns. Well, we'll fire with our forward guns here. We're going to start with long range for the first round of combat. What did I do with my range marker? Here it is. So we'll start off from long range, which will potentially cancel a hit on us, which will potentially lose both of us hits. So now we'll start for our aim point, and I think I'm going to aim at the starboard wing. I can aim at the port wing. I can aim at the port or starboard wings, the gunner, or the airframe. I believe those are my choices, right? Yes. And I do have an option with the Shrange Musique, but I'm not using that here. I don't have that. I'm not going to fire an extended burst, but I will use 1 ammo, which will be a total of 18 firepower. The way you determine order in this game is... Okay, so we use this to determine the order of combat, right? I'm just double checking here. And a combat card for the first combat round of the pass, as far as who shoots first. All right, let's see what we've got here. I'm not spotted, I fire first, and the bomber begins to corkscrew next round, which will affect the next round of hits. And since I'm aiming at I'll explain how the card works. So based on the amount of firepower you're unleashing at it, you'll get a result on this little chart. Now, if I were to roll this GP result, actually, let's go through each result. So any numbered result means you roll on the bomber damage chart for that number of hits. If you roll a GP, you'd inflict every hit at the aim point that you aimed at, essentially a group hit. Then DE means the bomber was just destroyed outright. So, combat card for the first round as far as damage inflicted and who shoots first. So it looks like I shoot first, and because I had 18 firepower, I dropped down to 16. So that's a GP. So since I was aiming at the starboard wing, I get to inflict most everything on here. Remember, I'm at long range, so I have to roll. I had a total of 6 hits there, so I'll roll a d6 to determine which hit gets canceled. On a starboard wing, we've got a control hit, 2 engine hits, a starboard wing, and a random hit. So basically it'll be 1 through 6 is how I'll roll that. A 2 will cancel one of the engine hits. So we'll deal a hit to... where are my damage markers here? So we'll deal a hit to the controls, which will progress through, and when we get down here, it means the plane will be shot down ultimately. So that's a controls hit. One of the engine hits got taken out. So we'll roll 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 are re-rolls to determine which engine we hit. We hit engine 1. Starboard wing gets 2 hits, which we'll put there. And then we dealt a random hit. So for that, we'll need to roll a d10 on bomber random damage. And since we are aiming at the... let's go there. So we'll roll on this bomber random damage chart. Since we'll be rolling a d6 for that. Since we're aiming at the wing, we'll use those hits. That's a 1, so we deal a hit to the starboard wing, another hit to the starboard wing, which actually we'll just shoot the plane down, right? Let me check here. Meets its damage. If the bomber meets its damage threshold for the airframe, either wing, control surfaces, or has all engines knocked out, it's considered shot down. So yeah, we've actually managed to shoot this Lancaster down. Just going to make some notes here. Canceled one of the engine hits. Starboard wing. So we actually managed to shoot down our first Lancaster. That's wonderful. So now with him being shot down, that hit's all done. Now we need to bring the plane back in shot for our endurance tracks. Alright, there was a note on here about a possible intruder landing, but that won't take effect until April 1944. So we need to roll 2d6 and consult the landing chart. The landing chart is... where is it? Oh, right here. So that's 2d6 we're going to be rolling. And these are just going to be simply added. We want to see a 2 to 10 for a safe landing. That's an 11, so we roll for a rough landing, which means each crew member will receive a light wound. Not that I think that'll really matter. Light wounds will ultimately just walk that off in the debrief phase, I'm sure. Yes. Right. I believe so. Yeah, I sure don't see anything here that's... Yeah, I'm sure yeah, it looks like the crew will just walk off a light wound. So everybody will walk that off. Then we'll allow scrounging ability. Aircraft actually didn't receive any hits on that mission, so that's our first kill on our first official sortie. I think we have plenty of time to roll another sortie, so I will reset the plane and we'll get another sortie in for August 43. Assuming our sortie goes off this time, we'll be on a bright moon state, so we'll make our interception rolls at +1 on the D10. Let's see what we've got here, though, as far as where they're targeting. A 4 says the Allies are again going for Berlin. All right. Okay, so we'll move our plane to the base. Then we need to roll for the weather. Hopefully we don't get another socked-in raid. A 1 is another round of good weather, so that's excellent, which means we'll get to go up again. All right, so we'll move the plane over straight to Berlin, and now we have to roll once again for the spoof raid. See if we get caught by a spoof raid. Once again, we want to see a 2 to 9 here. That's a 5, so we don't get caught by the spoof raid. Now we'll start rolling for interceptions. Berlin, and that'll be a D10. Remember, these rolls are all at a +1. We'll clear off the bomber target map. Four plus 1 is 5, which still amounts to no interception over Bremen. Grab the D10. These are still +1. Three plus 1 is 4, is once again no interception. Now we're into Munich. Two plus 1 is 3, is still no interception. That was almost a dangerous roll. Now we're into the last box, which doesn't really have a... So it looks like... I would say we're probably headed over Belgium, I think. I'm not sure of the geography of Europe. I'm just going to guess it's Belgium. Because I remember the Battle of France in 1940, Germany invaded through the Low Countries, so that's where I'm kind of getting my guess at. Me being based in the Netherlands in this game, that's probably Belgium that we're flying over. This doesn't give Brussels as any kind of location, so that's the way that's going to make sense to me. A 2 plus 1 is 3, no interception, so quiet raid there. So now we'll roll for landing. Once again, we're under good weather, so we don't have to make any kind of modifier for landings. Oh, there's actually a spot here for hangar. I didn't realize that. Eight. I believe that's... Yep, 8 is actually should be another safe landing, right? Yes, it's a safe landing. So nothing crazy there. And that's another sortie in the books. Our next one will be a full moon raid, which could have something crazy going on. But let's go into August, our fourth sortie in August 1943. I forgot to check for random electronics failure, but I'm not going to roll for anything. I'm not going to roll it out because I obviously didn't encounter anything on that raid. Well, just for giggles. 10 would have knocked out our secondary radar, but we don't have secondary radar on this plane, so it was effectively no result. That was mostly a giggles roll. But let's see where the Allies are targeting on this full moon raid. Snake Eyes means they're going to Hamburg. They're going after Bremen. Just making some notes, but we might not even be going up. Because first we need to roll for the weather. That'll be a D10. Weather's full, but it might not matter on that. We'll find out soon enough, though. Weather is once again good, but we need to roll a D6 to see if the raid gets canceled. On a roll of a 1 in a full moon raid, the raid will get canceled, or the sortie will get canceled. That's a 4, so we will be going up. We'll move to, I believe we moved to, okay, moon state marker in the appropriate box. Now we'll remember to roll for the random electronics failure. Which a 3 means our main radar is knocked out. Oh joy. So our main radar is inoperable, which I believe means, let me just double check what this entails. I believe it just means our interceptions are going to be more difficult to make. It's not going to say there, it probably will here. -1, no working radar present. Okay, so it will make our interceptions a little bit harder. Just making some notes. That's going to be fun. Having no radar. Joy. Alright, the target of the raid was Bremen. So now we need to roll for a spoof raid. D6, and we want to see, once again, a 2 to a 9. That's a 6, so we don't fall for the spoof raid. And this time we only have 3, actually we only have, we have 3 boxes to go through for interceptions. Bremen, Munich, and I'm going to start assuming that's Belgium. So first up in Bremen, we're rolling the D10 for interception. And remember, we're -1 because we have no working radar. 6 -1 is 5, no interception. That'll be over to Munich. Actually, we're net +1 because we've got a full moon out. So -1, which means that nets out to +1, which is 7, still no interception. So now moving over to Munich. Eight +1 is 9. We will have an interception. We will have an interception in Munich. Once I see what we're going to be fighting against. All right, so now we need the 2d6 on the aircraft target chart. Dice cup is over here. A 10 means we're facing a Sterling. Oh, that's fun. Alright, that's just our second plane that we've confronted. So now we'll bring the bomber mat back in shot. Once again, we'll be using our forward guns. And we'll be targeting at the... We'll be starting at long range. We'll make our aim point the... We'll aim at the airframe this time. Okay, and we're not going to use an extended burst, so we'll flip over our card here and we'll find that we fire first and the bomber corkscrews next round. Alright, which combat card for the first round of the pass? Okay, so we actually do follow the instructions on the card. I think I flipped over... No, I didn't actually. So this time, since we're using 18 firepower, we drop back down to 16, and we just managed to flatten the Sterling right out of the sky. In one shot, that actually seems really lucky. Even at long range, we managed to just take out the Sterling full stop. So, since that was a quick interception, let's bring the fighter mat back in shot. Now we're over Belgium for our last possible interception of the sortie. And again, +1 because of net +1 because of the full moon, and -1 because of the sortie, or -1 because of the radar. 5 + 1 is 6, which means we have no interception over Belgium. So now we'll roll for landing, since we're coming back into the Netherlands. That'll be a D10, I believe. No, 2d6. A 10. -1 is a full moon, actually, so that'll be a 9. Yep, okay, so that's another safe landing since we rolled properly on the chart. We managed to get another safe landing out of it. So, I don't think there's anything that happens just yet. I believe for every 4 sorties flown. Okay. Sorties that are skipped due to injury, planes, and don't count. Okay. Alright, just double checking on that. So... Alright, so that was our third sortie already. Wow, this is going quickly. I think we have time for one more sortie tonight, so I'm going to get reset, and then we'll fly one more sortie tonight. Alright, last thing I need to do to reset is putting the last ammo back on the forward cannons. So, let's roll and see where the Allies are targeting this time. So far tonight they've targeted Nuremberg, Berlin twice, and Hamburg. Let's see where they're going tonight. We're going for this last raid. 9, they're going for Nuremberg again. Just making some notes here. Frankfurt, so now we'll move to the base. Let's see what our weather is. We're looking at bright. We're looking at bright grade. Five is once again good weather. Alright, we have to roll for a random electronics failure as well. Okay, so we roll for the random failure first. All right. An 8 means we have no electronics failure, so that means we won't have any problems. Let me get that off the main radar, so now we can actually make our interception at full strength. So now we move to Frankfurt, and first we need to see if we fall for the spoof raid. Is that 2d6 or, yep, 2d6. Five means we don't fall for the spoof raid. Which means now we have 4 boxes. So we have Frankfurt, Bremen, Munich, and Belgium. At least that's what I'm assuming that last box is. Okay. So now we need a D10, and we're making these interception rolls all at +1. That's a 10, which equals an 11, so we have a bomber stream coming in at us. Remember, we're +1 because of the bright moon. So we'll have to roll for interceptions repeatedly. This is going to be fun, but we can choose to break off at any time. So our first interception over Frankfurt. This is probably going to be a good raid, a good sortie to end off on. But let's see what we've got here for our first plane that we're taking on. It would help if I flip over to the aircraft target chart. Let's see, that's a 5, so we're taking on a Halifax H-25. All right, Halifax. Wait, H-25, what is that? I gotta see if that translates to anything in particular. Probably something really dangerous, but doo-doo-doo. Okay. All right, well, I'm just trying to see if I can find anything here about what that H-25 means. I have a feeling that's going to be heavier firepower, but there's nothing in here about that from the looks of it. So we're just going to use it as a regular Halifax, but I need the bomber Madden shot. All right, we're going to start by attacking the Halifax at long range. And since we've had some good luck aiming at we'll go ahead and aim at the airframe again. And I'm not going to risk an extended burst at this one. So, let's see what happens here. We find we're not spotted and we fire first. I'm using the forward cannons. So we're going to deal out 5 hits based on firepower of 16. So our first hit, since we're aiming at the airframe, we'll be rolling on this chart right here. So we need the D10. That's a 5, which means we'll be hitting the controls. So I'm going to make some notes here. First round, 5 hits, 2 bomber. We hit the, what did we say, the controls. All right, where's my damage marker? Damage marker is right here. Controls are hit for the first hit. Second hit. It helps me so much to actually keep a logbook of everything. Just help me keep everything straight. Second hit, 8 is the port engine is hit, which is, looks like one of these engines, so we'll inflict a hit there. Then the next hit, this is hit 3. Back to my notebook. So this is our third hit. Eight is another port hit, so that engine's inoperable. Fourth hit. Eight is another port engine hit, which I believe now gets treated as no effect. That's already, actually I don't think it does get treated as that. So we hit the, so I believe we hit the other engine with that one, the other port engine. Oh wait, this is long range, so we actually cancel one of these hits. I think since we rolled 4 of these, I'm going to cancel the last one since we were at long range. So now incoming hits. So now for incoming hits, we'll draw another card and we'll go to the defensive fire section. This is the first time we'll have had this happen. 2 hits, but we'll only take 1 of them. So that means we need to roll the 2d6 and combine them. So looking at a roll like that, that would be a 23, since we're going to use black as 10s, white as 1s. So we've got 1 hit coming in. Let's see what we get here. A 64. Forward, oh yikes, forward weapons are out. So I think we're probably going to have to break off the sortie at this point, because all of our forward weapons just got taken out. That's problematic, so we'll need to go put this on the ground rather short. But alright, so we are going to get to break off. We are going to break off on this. So we are going to break off at this point. But let's see, so right. Just making notes. Forward weapons, and we're breaking off. So bomber has... So the bomber right now has 1 engine out, another one hit from being out, and the control surfaces are hit. So there's a possibility that we might still get credit for the bomber kill, even if we didn't take it out. But we are going to break off at this point, like I said. So on a roll of 1, the damaged bomber will crash before it makes it home. So we get to add an engine that's out, for each engine out. So it looks like a 1 to 2, it's still going to crash before we get home. So before they get home. So we'll roll the d10 for that. That's a 1, so it's still going to crash. Before getting home. Now the next question we need to answer is if this was spotted by somebody. So we need to roll a d6, and on a 1 or 2, we will get credit for it. That's a 5, so we won't get credit. Alright, so now since we're breaking off, Now we go straight to landing with all of our forward guns busted. So, in order to land, let's bring the plane back and bring the fighter back in shot. We're moving straight to the landing, so let's see if we manage to put this thing down on the ground. We're not having anything crazy going on here. Just making sure we've got the... Okay. Nothing crazy here. That's a 7, so we managed to put it down safely. This is our 4th sortie. We didn't get any kills, but in this one, I believe we just get 1 experience point, right? During the debriefing phase for every 4, we get an experience point. So 1 XP. And now we could purchase skills. Pilot starts... So I think we started as an NCO? Yeah. So we actually have 3 experience right now to start the game with. Which I think before the next time we convene for another session of Night Fighter Ace, we will look at spending those experience points. But that will do it for this session of Night Fighter Ace. I really enjoy this game, and there's actually several by Compass, by Gregory M. Smith, that have a strong narrative focus. And that's where I really like to be with these war games. I really like having that strong narrative focus where you're building the story around your pilot, your U-boat skipper, your tank commander, what have you. And that's kind of the thing I discovered I didn't like about the operational games, and that's not the last time you're going to hear me talk about that, because I will mention that again in an eventual end-of-year war game retrospective that I'm planning to do on the channel. But I'm starting to ramble, so let's wrap this video up. We're still very much in the thick of New Game November. Sunday we're debuting a new sports game on the channel as we play Appa Hockey, but next week we're going to take a break from the new games to pull out an old favorite as we play Marble Champions. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care everyone.